Welcome. This workshop is part of the monthly wellness series by Nuway Counselling, and this month is the Mental Health Awareness Month in May. Not sure how many of you know that. This has been going on for the past 20 years, and in every May, we have the Mental Health Awareness Month, and then every October, we have the Mental Illness Awareness Month. So hopefully by offering this kind of workshop, I'm able to help you understand more of what mental health is and how to maintain our mental health. So here, how's everybody today? Sometimes we feel sad, sometimes we have a downtime, but sometimes we're feeling happy and have a good time. There are mental illness and mental health. Often people mix this together and use it interchangeably. So hopefully by today's workshop, Demystifying Mental Health, I'm helping you to understand more what is mental health and what is mental illness and have a little bit more understanding of these two things. And what we are focusing on today is our mental health. Yay. So before we begin, who am I to speak about mental health? My name is Bessie. Hi, everyone. I am the clinical director at Nuway Counselling. In 2021, I had the honor to receive the Top 10 BC Outstanding Women's Award. And in the past 20 years, I've been promoting mental health, mental wellness, and supporting families with people who are dealing with all sorts of mental illness. Including depression, anxiety, all the way to people who are dealing with schizophrenia, bipolar, or inpatient services. So I have very deep knowledge and understanding of how to manage mental health, how to work with mental illness, and how to go back to the rehabilitation. And in the past, before I become a counselor, I was working at the mental health rehabilitation, helping people who ever had some sort of mental health issues in the past to return back to work, return back to school, or achieve better life outcomes such as receiving friends, finding a place to rent, or even obtain a life back together. So that's what I did before I was a counselor. And since I become a counselor, I become more specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy. And in addition to that, I use attachments theories, attachments issue to help people overcome some of the childhood trauma, and using family system theory to help people understand their positions in the family and understand the family dynamic, and incorporating cognitive behavioral therapy techniques to help people improve their lives. So here today, I would like to so hopefully you feel that I am qualified enough to give you this workshop today. So here is what I want to show you today. After today, I will demystify 6 myths and truth of mental health and try to explain how our brain works based on the CBT model, the cognitive behavior therapy model, and share with you some of the practical tools for maintaining mental health. So stay with me to the end so that you can grab those tools and use it today. And just so that you know, at the end, there are some Q&A sessions. And if you have some questions, feel free to type it up at the chat box along the way. I may or may not be able to address those questions along the way, but towards the end of Q&A, I will be able to answer some of the questions. So these are the 6 myths that I would like to share with you. I don't know how to go one by one, so I have to do it all in one block. But here, let's go to it. Which one of these 6 myths that have you heard of? Type the number on the chat box so that I know that you may or may not heard of some of them. So the number 1 is mental health is mental illness, And sometimes people talk about mental illness as like using the word interchangeably and feeling like this is just the same thing. So number one myth, mental health is mental illness. Number two is people with poor mental health are dumb or just less capable. If you heard of that, type yes in the chat. If you haven't heard of that, that's okay. So how many people have ever heard of that before? Type yes. Number three is mental health can be changed, is fixed forever. And it's like, oh, once you have a mental health condition or mental illness, this is forever. It's never gonna change. And some people feel devastated when they get a diagnosis from the psychiatrist. So that if you ever heard of this myth, type yes in the chat box so that we know. And number four, people are just lazy or making excuses. Have you ever heard of that and opposed to it? Say yes. Or maybe you do believe it in somewhat. Type yes. Number five is people with poor mental health are dangerous. If you ever heard of that, type yes and number five. And number six is poor mental health is a sign of weakness. Is that really true? So how many do you think these are true? Type true and then type the number of the myth beside the chat. Looks like nobody's. Is it because I'm not able to see the participation, or are you able to see everyone? Oh, are you able to see me? Okay, if you're able to see me, please let me know. So these are, I'm not able to see any of your chat. I hope you're participating, but I'm not able to see it for some reasons. But it's okay. If you're participating, try your best to participate. And if I'm not able to see you, I guess I won't be able to know who you are. Oh, chat is disabled. Looks like. Oh, okay. I guess everybody can type the. Sorry about that. I guess everybody can type in the Q&A and ask questions. I am able to see at the Q&A section. Okay, sorry about that. We won't be able to participate in chat, but definitely participate. So let me dive into this demystifying. So is mental health really mental illness? What I really want to tell you guys is no. Mental illness is a diagnosed by a medical professional. It follows specific guidelines. Some of you might have heard of DSM-5. And in the reason why it's 5 is because over the years they have different versions, and now we're on the 5th versions of DSM-5. And over the years, there are different criteria and continue to adding on. And there are some changes as well. For example, the word retard in the past, in the 60s, is actually a mental illness diagnosis. But fast forward today, because the word have different connotation, we don't use that kind of wording anymore. So things has changed along with our time and era. And mental illness is not exactly mental health. And what is mental health then? Mental health, if I have to explain, it's a state of mind. It's a spectrum. It's like temperature. You can't say a temperature is it's hot or cold. It's only relatively, this is a cold temperature, this is a hot temperature. So mental health is about your mental well-being as opposed to physical well-being. Like, for example, I have a broken finger, I have a broken leg, I have a fever. That's your physical health is not doing well. But regular days, I hope today your physical health is pretty good. And mental health is kind of the same thing. Some days you might feel like a little bit better, happier, in an elevated mood. Sometimes you might have a lower time or having a bad day, which is okay. It fluctuates and swings. And mental illness is to a point that for a prolonged time, for a specific timeline that's defined by DSM, and it's affecting in a lot of aspects of your life, such as work, friendship, social life, personal interaction with others. So it has to fulfill a certain criteria in order to call it a mental illness. So let's understand that, and mental health and is not mental illness, so we don't use it interchangeably. But sometimes we do have mental health challenges that we experience everyday life, but that happens to everybody. In the about 10 years ago, CMHA, Canadian Mental Health Association, posted research and saying, guess how many people will, what's the percentage of people having a mental illness diagnosed about 10 years ago? Take a wild guess. I guess I can't see your chat, but I'll give 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. It's 1 in every 4 people will have 1 person have a diagnosis of mental health issues. So mental illness. So this diagnosis is very prevalent. So how many 4 people you have, maybe like a cubicle at work, you already have 4 people or 4 or more people. There's a chance that people will have a diagnosis with mental illness. And also mental illness, there's only 8 types of people in this world who would have mental illness. Do you know who they are? It's somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's mom, somebody's dad, somebody's grandparents, or somebody's sister or brother. Those are the people who have a chance to have diagnosed with a mental illness, which means whether either you or me, one day, for any reasons, for any life challenges that fall into our laps, we might have a chance to acquire or develop mental illness. And mental illness is such a broad term. So we can't just say mental illness is bad or not bad or whatever. So I hope this will help understand what mental health is, so that later on we will use this term to try to help us maintain what mental health is. And let's dive into number 2. Number 2, people with poor mental health are dumb or less capable. Do you sometimes see people with that kind of expectation? Have you ever seen those people before? If you do, then you know this is not, oh, let's see. Attendees can chat with everyone. Okay, I just opened the chat box. You should be able to participate now. Have you ever heard of people with poor mental health are dumb or less capable? If you have, say yes. If you never heard of it, say no. Let's type the chat. Yes, yes. Okay. So sometimes people see that, and you know, it's not very nice to be called dumb or less capable. And a lot of time, actually, a lot of my clients throughout the 10, 11 years that I've been a counselor, a lot of clients come to me and really don't want to be associated with any mental health condition because they really don't want people to see them as dumb or less capable. And sometimes they do have self-criticism and say, well, I'm not able to go back to my job and I'm less capable. What I really want to demystify is to help you understand it's not that people with poor mental health are dumb. It doesn't affect our IQ. It's not a brain damage. There's nothing really damaged per se, but it does take a little longer time for the information to get processed. So sometimes people with little mental health conditions, we do want to give them a little bit more patience so that they can make their process and try to pay attention, say, have a difficult concentration, that kind of thing. Sometimes it's because their negative emotion or feeling of insecurity that affect them to make the decision that is the best in the moment. So they just need more patience. It doesn't mean they're very dumb or less capable. And in reality, some of the illness, some of the mental illness is actually driving people to achieve, to become those higher achievers. Do you guys know which one is this? It's the mania state at bipolar. So the bipolar disorder is when a person swings back and forth between mania and depression. And some of the people are really high achievers when they're in the mania state. And those the states sometimes give people a lot of drive to get their goals. And when people achieve those goals, they don't get talked about. They don't, like, our general publics don't know that they actually arrive in those success because of their illness. And people don't talk about when they're depressed. So we just didn't know about it. In reality, people with poor mental health are just they're just normal IQ. They're able to calculate, they're able to make decisions. It just takes a little bit patience sometimes. So let's be a little bit more patient and compassionate towards when people are having a bad day or when people are having a poor mental health condition. Okay, does that help understand what it is? Number 3, mental health can be changed, is fixed forever. This is kind of talking about, okay, if your psychological develop in this way, if you think in a certain way, it can be changed. Then we won't have a job. My job every day, what I do is to help people see a different perspective. Hence, our name is Nuway Counselling, because I want people to know there's different perspective to see. There's different way to live your life. And sometimes when we get stuck in one place and condition, we tunnel vision our life and we can't see other things going on. And sometimes it just needs a little boost or other people to give you a different perspective so that you can say, oh yeah, that is true. And in reality, a lot of people, when they don't know how to change the perspective, you'll find it very hard. Our brain is kind of designed that way so that you can make decisions and do things in a certain way and follow life in a pattern. We are human beings, we learn patterns so that we can repeat our patterns and be safe. Ultimately, we just want to be safe. And usually when people like friends and family who do not have the professional training, they're just like, oh, just relax. Oh, just think about it this way. Oh, just talk about. Sometimes it works. But most of the time, people's minds are very hard to change. That's why in therapy, we use specific skills, we use specific techniques, which I'll share with you a little bit later, to change the mind. I don't really change people's mind. I just share with them different perspective and I show them the evidence. And there's a lot of hard work get into it to help people start to see differently. So mental health is something that can be changed. It takes skills and it takes practice. It takes a lot of techniques to change it. But when you start to learn those abilities, those knowledge, you can actually change your own mental health or people around you. It's workable. So stay with me to the end to grab those notes, grab those tips. Number 4 is people are just lazy or making excuse. Have you heard of that before? That, oh, this person say he's depressed, he's just lazy. Oh, this mom is just lazy. He's just making excuse. If you have heard of this, type yes in the group chat. Some people have heard of it before. Yeah, so why do people think it's just lazy? It looks like, oh, you're just doing nothing, you're just sitting there. I even have clients come to my office and say that, well, I'm not going to work. I haven't been working for so long. I feel like I'm just lazy. But in reality, this person was not even sleeping at night. This person wasn't even able to make food for herself, like completely low in energy. How do you expect a person like that being able to go back to work and just type on computer, being highly concentrated all the time? So it's the expectation of people. For example, we don't really like if someone is limping and have a broken leg or have a fever that you can feel it, you don't ask that person to go buy some grocery and go cook for the night, or you will typically hear people around them and say, oh, take a rest, you deserve a rest, oh, just sit at home, do nothing. Like we're very generous about that kind of condition because it's visible. However, mental illness is not visible. When person's mental health, like I said, it's like a temperature. It can be better one day, it can be lower one day, and things happens. Sometimes you might be just trying to meet some deadlines and then you get overwhelmed and you get burned out. And those are the times that it's invisible. People don't even know. I often have a lot of clients come to me and end up saying, wow, Bessie, you're the first one who understands what I meant. And it's true because a lot of time people around you and they don't understand how painful you are. They don't understand what you're going through. It's all in the brain. And sometimes you might heard of people say, it's all in your brain. Yes, it is. But it just you don't know. You don't know how it feels. You can't see how it feels. And being a counselor, we're trained to be able to detect what that means, not just what you say. Oh, I can't lift the water bottle. Oh, I can't go to shower. We're not just trained to listen to the surface level wording. We are trained to understand what it means to not be able to do certain things, what it means that you're not able to live a life that you used to have. We're trained to understand and provide that empathy. And we believe because of that empathy, because of that understanding, a person is empowered. And when a person is empowered, they're able to come out from that kind of conditions. So that's what counselors do. So are people just lazy or making excuses? No, of course not. And actually research has do some scanning and show that the neurotransmitter in the brain of depression is actually less. So that's why they develop this antidepressant medication to try to keep more neurotransmitters in the synapses so that there are it's a chemical process, chemistry process, and it actually shows in scans. So when a person is developing a mental illness, it's not that they're finding excuse. So as ADHD as well, sometimes I did have parents come to me and say, oh, my son is like, I don't understand why he's just not able to listen. He's always making excuse. He's always interested in all the different things and never able to sit down and write a word. It takes me so much effort. But they didn't understand their son had ADHD. And it takes their brain literally wired differently. And thanks to the neuroplasticity, that our brain is actually able to be rewired. That goes back to number 3, the myth of number 3. That's why we have a job. Thank you, brain, to let counselors have a job that we can actually change the brain. We can actually change how it's wired, but it takes a little bit of skill and strategy. So stay with me at the end. I'll show you what are the strategies, some of the strategies. There's a lot of them. Number 5 is people with poor mental health are dangerous. How many people ever believe that? Say yes, type yes if you ever heard of that or ever believed that. With our popular social media, well, with our popular social media, we do get a lot of notes, a lot of news talking about how people with a mental illness diagnosed are dangerous to the public. But more often than that, most people with a mental illness or poor mental health, they're more likely to shut down and withdraw and harm themselves than going out to harm others. those are different type. There's a very small number of people who would actually go out and harm others because of the mental illness. And you can think about yourself as well. On a sad day, on a overwhelmed day when you don't feel safe, do you tend to go out and tell people, say, hey, I'm very upset, hey, I'm very scared, or hey, I'm very sad? Or do you tend to retract and come back and just stay with yourself? Which one? If you think you're going out with to tell everybody and trying to reach out to people, type 1. If you think you are coming back to yourself, you're more likely to withdraw, type 2. Right? So if you even think about yourself, most people are more likely to come back to ourselves and be the victims of violence rather than the perpetrator. Because mental health is such a thing that when we are not doing so well, we tend to kind of come back to ourselves just to be safe. We want to close up, we want to be safe. And the people who are out there and hurting people, harming people, that's maybe one specific type of mental illness, or it doesn't happen very often. Most people, if you ever encounter yourself or others that have a poor mental health or even a mental illness diagnosed, they're more likely to need your support and connection than going out to connect with you, because they're not going to connect with you. Yeah. So this is something I really want you or the family members to know, that if you feel that way, definitely try to reach out. There's a lot of crisis line out there, 1-800-SUICIDE. You don't have to be suicidal to call that number. As long as you're feeling in the moment, in the crisis, or not even crisis, just need someone to chat with right away. Someone is there. So call those numbers, dial those numbers. And there are different language ones as well. So look into, if you speak a different language, look into your language and see if there are crisis line in your own language, because language makes a difference. So here, now you know, people with poor mental health are not dangerous. Not all of them are dangerous. And most often they need help, they need support. They're not going to be the perpetrator. But having said that, try not to take advantage of people with poor mental health, because they are in a very vulnerable state and they can easily be taken advantage of. So they would need your protection if you're there. So number 6, poor mental health is a sign of weakness. Anybody heard of that before? If you heard of that before, type 1. If you never heard of that before, type 2. Okay. So poor mental health is a sign of weakness. Is it really a sign of weakness? We sometimes heard, even clients sometimes come to me and say, well, I'm just weak. If I'm mentally stronger, I wouldn't think that way. Or my mom told me that I'm just mentally weak. If I'm stronger, I won't feel so bad. I won't feel so sad. I won't be easily being pushed around. So a lot of people define that poor mental health is a sign of weakness. And I would like to show you that research show that mental health condition is not a choice. And it's just like when we get a cold, like coughing, when we get a fever, when we get like a cut on the finger, bleeding is not a choice. Those are just how our brain and our body react to a situation. And some people have an upbringing that didn't give them a lot of resources and how to manage certain things. That's why I said it's a skill to be learned. And this is why I'm a CBT therapist, because I really see how CBT can help with those techniques and skills to help you become a different person. It's a learnable skill. It's not about a weakness or strongness. It's really about the skills, whether you had that example before and be able to learn that. And developing those conditions also is not a choice. Sometimes people will say, oh, if I were you, I wouldn't make that choice. Oh, if I were her, I wouldn't got myself into that situation. You might heard those kind of sayings before, but the thing is, nobody's life is exactly the same. If you were that person, yeah, sure, you may not make that decision. You may not go for that choice because you have other resources available to you. You have other experience that told you that you didn't have to choose that. And for the person who might seem to get themselves into the worst situation is because their past experience have brought up to make that person into who they are today. And they, based on the knowledge and information, that was seem to be the best option for them. So before we make that kind of judgments, we try to understand other people in their shoes. And honestly, not everybody can understand what we're experiencing, and which is okay because we're all unique in our own ways. And coming to counseling, we're here to give you a professional lens so that you don't feel judged and you can examine, why am I doing it this way? How can I get out of this situation without any judgment? And that's why we believe being in counseling, having those conditions, a person can be empowered and become a different person. So these are the 6 myths that I prepared for today, but there's still so many myths about mental illness, mental health, and there's a lot of stigma. And I am very passionate about removing the stigma. I really hope people to understand that mental health is just the same as physical health. And as long as we attend to it, as we understand what it is, like heart disease. I don't know what heart disease is exactly. I I but if I take enough knowledge to understand it, I'm pretty sure I would know how to manage or deal with heart disease as well. So mental health condition is the same thing. How do we maintain the mental health? That is something we can learn. And since you're here today, I hope you guys will be the ambassador to share that message to help people around you to understand that, hey, we all have mental health. And mental health is something that we can all help maintain. And with skills and knowledge and practice as well to help maintain a mental health and avoiding getting into a mental illness state. And mental illness can recover as well, just like any kind of illness. Sometimes the condition might last longer and stay with you for the rest of your life, but it's definitely manageable. I've seen people who have schizophrenia who hears voices. They're able to coexist with their voices and they're able to have a normal life. This person may not be going back to work, but this person was able to having a normal life, able to volunteer, able to apply himself into society. So it's completely doable. Obviously, there are different achievements that we want to achieve, and maybe we'll type into that when we talk about procrastination later in the chapter. So, is anybody have other myth that you would like to demystify? You can feel free to type it up here, but if not, then we will move on to talk about how our brain works. Because in order to know how to change this kind of states or how to maintain our mental health, I would like to share with you how CBT is seeing how our brain works. No question so far? Okay. So how does our brain work? I'm not a neurosurgeon, I'm not a brain doctor, so I'm not going to talk about the biological physiology of the brain, but based on the cognitive behavioral theory, we know how the brain works. So this is the model, the mindfulness-based CBT model, cognitive behavioral theory model. And what it says is how many people have heard of CBT before? How many people have experienced CBT before? Type 1 if you have you know some sort of CBT, type 2 if you never or not don't really know what it is. Okay, so most of you kind of know what CBT is, heard about CBT. So this model is probably familiar to you. So I'll just quickly go over it. So CBT kind of suggests that our cognition, the way we think, affect our behavior, and then in turn affect our feelings. And in addition to that, mindfulness adds to the sensation part because the mindfulness, how many people have heard of mindfulness? Type 1 if you heard of mindfulness, type 2 if you don't know mindfulness, what it is. Okay, cool. A lot of people already know what mindfulness is. So mindfulness is also a state of mind. It's not a practice because some people tell me that mindfulness is just sit there, meditate. I do that every day. I meditate every day. I do yoga. I do that every day. But I do want to let you know that mindfulness is a state of mind. You can be mindful even right now at this very moment, listening to the webinar without doing the form of whatever meditation look like. So mindfulness is a state of mind. And mindfulness asks us to pay attention to the physiology sensation, the physical sensation, our bodily sensation. So in turn, if you take this into a whole circle, your body is reacting to a situation in a condition, in a cognition, the way you think, and then your behavior, and then your feeling. I'm just going to take a quick example. So say, for example, you see Sarah in the mall. She was your best friend back in high school, but you kind of lost contact with each other. And you felt like you guys walked so close by and didn't see each other. But you saw her, but she seemed to saw you as well, but she didn't say hi. So you go home and felt like, well, the last I chat with Sarah was that she lost my favorite eraser and I got mad at her. That's why we never talk again. And she must still be mad at that. So that's your cognition, the way you're thinking. And then your behaviors is like, oh, I will never talk to her again. I'm not going to say hi anyways. And your feelings might be feeling a little bit disappointed, a little bit upset, angry, or frustrated, irritated, or feeling sad that the friend doesn't. And your physiology, your physical sensation might feel a little bit low energy. It's like, oh, what a bummer. I lost a friend. Like really feeling that low energy. But Sarah give you a call and say, hey, you know what, Bessie, I haven't seen you for ages. Sorry, I was so busy. I had to run to somewhere. I saw you, but I didn't get a chance to say hi to you. And then because of that, your feeling changed. Your cognition started to think, oh, okay, that was such a long time ago. She was still a good friend. She was just getting busy in life. Then we kind of part way, but she gave me a call and your behavior started to call her out again, started to book time to meet up. And then your feelings start to feel like, hey, those are good times and happy. And the physical sensation is feeling a lot lighter, a lot more open. So you see the change is all in there. And this loop can definitely be changed. And it doesn't just stay in cognition, because a lot of time people will tell you, oh, just change the way you think, just change the way you see that thing, or just change your behavior, start running, and then you can lose your weight. Those are just the easy way to go for it. That's why sometimes people say CBT doesn't work. How many people have this impression that CBT doesn't work? Or type 1. If you know and believe that CBT works, type 2. Oh, okay. Great. So great. Some people are really probably experience the benefits from CBT as well. So that's great. But CBT does work. A lot of time, what you can see online is general worksheets. And you may or may not know some of the skills already, but I still want to share with you how to maintain a good mental health. So coming up, I'm going to share with you some of the skills and techniques that we show in our 12-week CBT program. This is a one-on-one program that we teach all of the skills. Is a systematic way to look at how to manage your mental health. So for the time being, we have about 20 minutes. How many? I don't know if I can get into all of them. Which one would you like to know more in detail? So upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right. I'll briefly share, type your message in there. I'll briefly share what they are. So the first one is 10 thought twisters and 15 thought untwisters. Those are what we teach in the CBT program to help you identify some of the thoughts and identify. So once you identify the thought pattern, then you would stop, you would know how to untwist those thought patterns. Top right, motivation driver. I'll get into more details when people are having more choices out there. The second one is motivation driver and anti-procrastination hack. This is a behavior. So some of them is the cognitive technique. Some of them is the behavioral technique. So like I said, go back to here. There are cognitive techniques that we can use. There are behavioral techniques we can use. There's our feelings techniques we can use, and there are physical sensation techniques we can use. So there are 4 doors into changing the way you think, changing the way you feel, and changing your mental health. So the first one, top left, is it's a cognitive skill. The top right is behavioral skill. The bottom left is cognitive skill and behavioral skill. And the bottom right is behavioral skill. So when someone, I see someone says want to talk more about the top right. The behavioral motivation driver is SMART goal setting. Have you ever heard of SMART goal setting? If you heard of that before, type 1. If you haven't heard of it before, type 0. Okay, SMART goal setting. So the SMART goal setting, let's get a little bit deeper into it. Top right and bottom right, perfect. So the motivation driver is that we have to get the SMART goal right in order to achieve the ultimate goal. From your goal currently right now to the ultimate goal you want to achieve, if you haven't achieved it, definitely there's a distance between it. In order to reach that distance, just like that cookie jar all the way at the top drawer, you're not just gonna go grab it. You're gonna reach out with a little stool or some ladder to boost you up. And the motivation driver is like that too. When we don't have the motivation to do certain things, we would like to set things up small so that we can achieve it. And the driver comes from the sense of achievement. So if you heard of what SMART goal is, you may or may not heard of it. Most of you said yes. I'm just going to reiterate it. S is specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, R is relevant, and T is time-bound, within the time limit. So a lot of times when people go on the online worksheet and they come to me and say, okay, I've learned about SMART goals. We talk about it at work and we set SMART goals as well. But when they come to me and tell me this doesn't work, I'm not motivated. And I look at their goals, they're not smart at all. General rule of thumb, SMART goal has to be very specific. You have to say, okay, I'm gonna do exercise. Say if your ultimate goal is exercise, lose weight, then you might want to exercise. And your ultimate goal is, you have to be very specific. Am I gonna do 2 steps? Am I gonna ride on the bike or am I gonna run on the treadmill? Very specific. Measurable. Am I gonna measure it by steps? Say if I'm running on a treadmill, I'm gonna run by the time, 10 minutes, or am I gonna run by the steps, like 100 steps? Then I will stop. A is achievable. Am I actually achievable? Say, sometimes people say, oh, I'm going to do that 5 days a week, but I'm actually having a very busy schedule and I have to cook for kids or do laundry or like cleaning up for my parents to visit, like that kind of thing. You can't really do it 5 days a week. So is it really achievable? R is relevant. Is it really relevant to my ultimate goal? So maybe you will say, I'm going to go do grocery, but grocery may not be relevant, exactly relevant to your lose weight goal. Maybe it is, maybe not. Depends on how you see it. Maybe you'll buy food that are relevant to your goal of lose weight. So it has to be relevant. And then the last one is time bound. How long are you going to do it for? If you're not able to meet up 5 days to go to the gym, say for example, going to the gym, then don't set that example. Don't set that as a SMART goal because that's not smart at all. So when you set up a SMART goal, I won't be able to set a SMART goal for every one of you today, right now, but when you set up a SMART goal, you should have a feeling that, hey, this goal is just so ridiculously easy. I can just finish it, no problem. And make sure you do understand that our mental state change every day. Our mental health is different every day. Sometimes you might feel like, oh, 2 years ago, I was able to achieve that in no time. It was so easy for me. But today, are you actually in the same state? Like say, for example, I've been overwhelmed by work. I haven't been sleeping. I've been experiencing insomnia. How am I going to achieve that? No way. Then at that time, the same goal 2 years ago that was so ridiculously easy is not ridiculously easy right now. And this is also the anti-procrastination hack is to make sure those SMART goals are so tiny, so easy. Say, for example, in order to go to the gym, you might want to put up your jacket. You might want to change to your exercise gown. The other day, I just set up for my client she said she has a gym in their apartment. So, but they have to sign up. So I said, okay, so just bring a pen out of the door. That's your goal. Every day, just bring a pen out of the door. And as long as you completed that goal, you can, if you choose to go back home, you can go back home. If you choose to go downstairs to write your name and secure that time slot, then you can secure that time slot. And guess what? The next time she came back to me and she's like, wow, it was so surprising. I was able to do exercise 3 times this week because in the past, she was not even getting out of the door. And all she did is to take the pen, put on her clothes, put on the exercise clothes, and take the pen with her, get out of the door. And she was able to do it. Because guess why? Do you know? Maybe you can guess why. Because when she get the pen out of the door, she already know that, okay, it doesn't take that long to go downstairs. And once she write down her name on the time slot, it kind of felt like, okay, I already secured that time slot. Why not just do it? Why not just, because when you secure that time slot, chances are you will think about, does it fit into my schedule? Am I able to fulfill that time slot? Because if I occupy that time slot, then other people cannot use it. And it's kind of like an accountability. So she signed up and she did it. So rule of thumb, SMART goals, and be very small, so small to the point that you felt like, okay, it's so ridiculously easy today, not yesterday, not 5 years ago, not future self, but today. Because sometimes you might be sick and you still have to finish your deadline. And those are the time that you have to come back to reality and know what is ridiculously small at that moment. So in our 12-week CBT program, we work one-on-one with you to understand how does it apply to you specifically. Okay, you know the general rules, but is that really a SMART goal? And also, when you set that SMART goal, we keep you accountable. Come back next week, we'll check in with you and see if you're able to achieve that. oh, if you're not able to achieve that, let's adjust the SMART goal and how to make it work better for you so that you can start to overcome that procrastination and start to gain those achievements. And those achievements are your building blocks, are your stepping stools to help you reach higher, help you reach your ultimate goal eventually. So that's the top right, motivation driver and anti-procrastination hack. Hopefully you can take that home today and stop procrastinating and start reaching your goals. Okay, great. And worry thoughts and switch. We only have about 9 minutes left. If you have a little bit time, you can stay a little bit further. But I'm just gonna between Fern and worry thoughts. Which one do you guys want to hear? I see bottom right. Okay, so the worry thought switch and the panic button, they are behavioral techniques. The worry thought switch is to switch to separate a time specifically for your worries. It's like treating worry as a friend, but a very annoying friend. And this friend doesn't have any boundary. And this friend always come to you and knock, hey, think about this. No, think about it. What if this happened? Oh, have you thought about that? Oh my gosh, there's so many things to think about. The reason why worry comes, there must be a reason. Sometimes, even if it's very irrational, we do have to process things. And if we just engage with them right away when they come, we probably have a hard time doing things in my everyday life. I'm not able to focus on work. I'm not able to respond to clients. I'm not able to do anything. I'm not able to attending to my husband or my partner or my children. So in times like that, you want to tell your worry that, you know what, I know you're important. I know you come for a reason, but here, I will schedule a time with you at this time, this date, at 2 p.m. every day. For example, 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. This is the time I have with worries. I'm going to sit down and write things down. I'm going to list it out. I'm going to take time to think about it so that you know you're rational or you know you're not rational. You know, I can make a decision. I can process things throughout this time. And when you set up that time for yourself, you will find that, hey, I don't have to worry about it right now. Okay, I notice there's thought coming. I notice I'm asking myself what ifs, but I've set myself time during that time to do that. And sometimes when my clients not available, like they're too busy, they can't, I don't have time to set up a scheduled time to worry about things. And I'll tell them, that's why you come to book a session with us. And throughout the CBT program, you set time aside to continuously give time to your worries so that when your brain is sort those things out, it doesn't come to bother you anymore. I have one of clients who were having insomnia, and she was like, Bessie, I don't know why I'm keep having insomnia at 3 a.m. in the morning. And it's been 5 years. It's so hard. But and then I check in with her, how does it work for you? Is it making your life worse or making your life better? And she said, well, during this 3 a.m., I started to plan my work day, started to try to remember who are the clients I need to reply. So I started to plan my day. And then I slowly go back to sleep at 4 or 5, but at 6 o'clock, I have to get up already. So I was like, does it work for you or is it hindering you? And she said, well, if I weren't planning for my work in the past 5 years, I wouldn't getting all this promotion all the time. And I said, well, definitely, this is working for you. So now you just want to sleep at 3 a.m., but you still need time to plan for your work and get work done. So why don't you switch to another time? Like say, start from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. You just have to reschedule your time a little bit differently. And then she was able to sleep. She never came back anymore. And she was like, Bessie, I'm able to sleep now. I'm like, great. You just have to schedule time for your thoughts because they come for a reason. They're there to serve you. They're there to make your life better, make your life safer. So attend to them, give them time so that when it's not their turn, you can focus on other things. You can do other things. So that's the worry thought switch. The panic button is the grounding technique. That's the using the mindfulness. How many people are practicing mindfulness? Type 1 if you're practicing mindfulness. Type 2 if you're not really, it's not in your life right now. Okay. So a lot of people actually use mindfulness. The panic off button is the grounding techniques. And you have it all the time. We all have these 5 senses. These 5 senses are always with us. Say right now, if you're sitting, can I invite you to think about the sitting surface that's pushing you up? Noticing that pressure that's pushing you up. And if you're, say, rub your hands, listen to that sound. Rubbing your hands, listen to that sound, and noticing the sensation on your fingertips or your palms, or even noticing the heat that we're generating from the middle of your palm, and noticing the color of your hands that are maybe slightly changing. So those are the simple grounding techniques that you can employ today, right now, to help you feel more calm, pay more attention to the present moment. And when you're panicked, those are your anchors. Also, when you're panicking, typically panic attacks last for less than 20 minutes. So doing that, if you can ground yourself, you can shorten that panic feeling. Most of the time, do this. Practice it every day. Practice it all the time. Try to listen to the physiology of the sound. Try to look at the physical property of things that you see. Say how bright this thing is, or what's the color on this thing. What's the shape of your computer screen, for example. Just to tell yourself, is it edgy or is it round? Like tell yourself that kind of little details so that you ground yourself in the present moment, ground yourself in those things. We do have another program called the mindfulness group, which we're happening. It's in Mandarin though. This time around is in Mandarin. Next time we'll do an English one. The mindfulness, we all practice it every week, weekly Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. to practice, to pay more attention to the present moment. But this is the basic, the entry level. The advanced level mindfulness is to pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to what this anxiety looks like. Pay attention to what this panic looks like. Are they telling me something, or are they just throwing me a lot of irrelevant thoughts? So that you pay attention to them, then you have a choice to say, okay, I want this to be gone. I want to keep this, so that you can work with your thoughts. They're all yours. They're there to help protect you. So it's coming to an end. How many people want to stay a little bit time to I'll explain a bit more as well, or if you want me to keep going, say yes. Yes. So what I want to show you is this is the program overview. In 12 sessions, it's a systematic sessions that we will share, but we'll talk one by one in one-on-one sessions to help you understand what these are. Like, for example, understanding CBT model, use the SIR thought records. Most of the thought records that you see online, if you Google them, it's what we call the cognitive restructuring, but that's not the SIR thought records. SIR stands for situation, interpretation, and response. Just like the example that I talked about, Sarah, is really about how you interpret the situation that gives you a certain type of response. And all your response are separated into 4 different parts. It's your cognition, the way you think, your feelings, how you feel about that, your behavior, how did you act, and then your physiological sensation. And those are the thought records that in our workshop, in our one-on-one sessions that help you ease into how to observe those so that you can work with them. And then session 3 and 4, we'll talk about the cognitive skills to help you identify what are the negative thoughts and how do you untwist it. By the way, all these things, there are tons of worksheets online that you can Google it, and feel free to Google it. But what we can do, the value that we can provide is to help you make it more applicable to your life and make sure that you don't use it in a wrong way. Like for example, people's like, I've been setting up SMART goals, but the goals are actually not that smart or not smart enough that you can actually fall down, or sometimes it can set you up for failure as well if you set your goal too high and you can't reach it. Like that person who set her goal at exercise 5 days a week, but end up only exercising 2 days a week and really felt bad about yourself. So that's what we don't want to see. So our counselors individually help you set up those goals and work on those techniques. We don't just follow a worksheet. We follow the theory and apply that theory into your life, incorporate, so that you not only using a worksheet and work on it, but really applying to your own life and have an understanding, knowing those skills and be able to use it on yourself. Like the behavior activation, the SMART goal setting, doing little things to get started. And then the behavior experiment is for people who are really scared about something, have a fear, have a phobia, that kind of thing. And then number 8, I think, is the most valuable thing, which is a lot of people who use CBT on the surface level, they don't dig deeper down. And CBT, that's why I would call myself a CBT expert, because I help people to dig deeper down into where it comes from, and using family system theory to help understanding where it really comes from. Why did I form the belief in this way? Looking for that core belief that really need to restructure, instead of restructuring, oh, I don't like Sarah actually likes me, oh, we're good friends now. Those are just surface level words. Instead of like, how do I see myself? Am I good enough? Why did I not feel myself good enough? Why do I not feel accepted? Why do I feel abandoned? Like those are the thoughts that actually, those are the feelings that actually need to be addressed, not the surface level one. How do I interact? I mean, those are important too, day-to-day life, but the deeper one are the CEOs that you want to change, you want to switch in order to have a better life outcome. And then visualize your safe space to help us feel safe in a sensational way. And the power of here and now is about mindfulness to help you understand how to incorporate mindfulness in your everyday life. And the SLAP energy booster method is 5 different things. I can go into that in hours to talk about the SLAP, how to do. SLAP is sleep, love, eat, physical activity, and time management. So those are very important skills to have. My client's using that energy booster method, and she was able to gain her energy back within a week. And every time, later on, she was on medication, but then whenever she had a lower mood, she checked back into the checklist and say, okay, I just need to do this. And she was able to boost her energy. So those are very good skills to have. And then Fern is in a short form. You can Google iMessage to gain a general knowledge about what iMessage is. It helps people to set boundaries and also gain a better relationship with others, like getting promotion, how to ask for things, advocate for yourself or for things that you like, have a better interpersonal relationship with coworkers, with husbands, wife, children. Those are very effective. Fern is something that I gathered to enhance the iMessage. Fern is fact, emotion, reasons, and need. I don't have time. We're already over time. I don't have time to get that into deeper. But hopefully, if you're interested, sign up for a free consultation so that you would be able to learn all those skills and also apply to your life. Because sometimes people say, I've been using iMessage, and I ask them, what is this iMessage that you're using? And they'll be, I feel like my husband is so dumb. I feel like my husband is so lazy. Like, and then I tell them that's not iMessage. That's not iMessage. In order to use iMessage effectively, the Fern is a formula that I put together. But in order to use Fern effectively, you would have to have a very good self-understanding, good self, like for example, facts. Sometimes people can't define the fact very well. They say, oh, he was really bugging me. That is not the fact. Fact, I mean, I don't have time to go into it. Fact is a video camera recording the fact. Emotion, sometimes people don't really know how they feel. Reason is going back to chapter 8, where we go back into where it came from. Why do I feel this way? How do I believe in certain things that works in this way? And the need also is sometimes people's like, I just want him to love me more. I just want him to stop bugging me. No, those are not actual needs that works. Needs had to be something that's doable for the other person, is action oriented and is reasonable too. So we talk in details in each of the formulas, the skills, the techniques, so that you can apply them in your everyday life. But for the time being and the short time today, hopefully you're gaining those skills and take it home. The next slides, I just want to show you why our 12-week CBT program works. Compared to other programs, they might be just an online course and you have to do it yourself. It might be a group setting. You might need a psychiatrist referral in order to do it, and they give you a lot of worksheet. It's based on those standard worksheets that you can already Google it and do it online. And they're not able to attend to the hidden obstacles, because in the bigger settings or do it yourself, you might not be able to get to those details. But in our program, it's personal one-on-one coaching, and it's covered by your extended health insurance. And those are experiential exercise, so that we are making sure it's adapting to your own life. In that one-on-one session, we understand what you are going through and how is this particular skill applied to your life. And then obtaining results right away. Like I said, all those clients, they see the result right away. And I hope today, all the skills that I share, you would already be able to use it in your life. And in 3 months, you will see yourself in a transformation. And if you still have more questions, you can dig deeper into trauma, and we have other counselors to book with you. Now is the Q&A session, and this is the last slide that I have. If you book a free consultation today, I will send you, just mention 12-week CBT program, and I will send you the SLAP energy booster method. I'll send you the notes for it so that you can take a read. Some of you might be able to understand the theory and apply to your life already, but some of you, if you feel like looking at the theory is a little bit too distant, or you want a little bit more closer one-on-one individual therapy, then we can help you incorporate that into your life, make it applicable to you so that you can see actual changes. And these 6 are our, we also have a lot more counselors on our team as well, but these 6 are the persons who will deliver the 12-week CBT program as well. So the booking link is right there. Book a session with us and get your mention about 12-week CBT program and get your SLAP energy booster. Okay, this is all. We went over time a little bit. Thank you for staying with me the whole time. Do you have any questions? I have a little time here. If you have questions, feel free to ask. And how does insurance cover it? So insurance actually, if you have extended insurance, then it covers all the session. We charge you by session. It's $175 per session. And but we do have to, if you want to enroll in this program, then it will be $2,100 for the whole 12 weeks program with worksheet and all the techniques and skills as well. So it's about 1 hour sessions each time, and the insurance, every time we will issue you a receipt for reimbursement, insurance reimbursement. For those who have direct billing, you can also do direct billing as well. So book a session, call us, text us, or email us to find out whether you are covered by direct billing as well. And so you can book a free consultation at newaycounseling.jnet.com with one of us, and then we'll be able to help you to get you started in your journey. you. Anybody else have other questions? If you found today's workshop very helpful, type yet one. If you have a little bit more questions, type two, and also make sure you email us so that we can answer all your questions, address all your questions. Thank you. Thank you. I can stay here for a few minutes if you have any questions, or direct message me if you don't want to share in the public. And my name is Bessie, Bessie at newaycounseling.ca. You can also message me directly. So if there's no more question here, I guess that's the workshop that we are got in here. And so click on the link there, newaycounseling.jnet.com to book a free consultation and mention 12 weeks CBT program, and I'll send you the slept energy booster. Great. We book a free consultation. Thank you for coming today, and we have a workshop next 20th, June 20th with Stacy for self-compassion. If you're interested, please sign up, and we will have that workshop. See you in the next workshop. So that's the end for today, and see you next time. Bye.